Okay, so for tonight's call, we wanted to talk about becoming a leader ourselves. Like, how do we become a leader for our team? How do we step into that role? How do we, if we're kind of in that role, how do we get better at it? All those kind of things. So me and Melissa have been talking about a lot today, looking at different articles, and we came up with, through the help of this article, we're going to take a look at like 7 different aspects that we can help, and 7 different action items that we can do to make ourselves better leaders. So the first one, and this is one kind of goes without saying, I guess, but is to follow leaders that you look up to. So within doTERRA, within church or whatever it is, who are those people that you look up to? They're great leaders. Maybe they, especially like I guess in doTERRA, right? Like there's those people that are top earners in the company, those top ranks. There's those people great enrollers. There's everything else in between. Have huge social media followings. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, those are the people that you should be looking at, because we need to try and emulate and mirror some of the things that they're doing. So following those people on their social media. A lot of, especially nice thing is with leaders in doTERRA is so many of them open up the trainings and the things that they're doing to not just their team but to everyone else, right? And so we can look at those people, we can go to their trainings, we can look at what they're doing and see and be able to try and make that happen. So for an action item for this one, and I'm going to post this in Pre-Share Build tomorrow, but as an action item, pick out 2 or 3 leaders who you admire, either for their speaking, top enrollers, whatever it is, and start really following them and seeing what those, like, try and dissect them a little bit. What is it you're seeing that they're being successful at? What are those things that they're doing? When I was in Prague, that was one of the things that Patrick and Lise talked about. They're like, they were like, we can be successful at whatever business we want, because all we're going to do is we're going to go into whatever field that is, and we're going to find the top people in that field, and we're going to see exactly what they do, and we're going to do that. So that's really what we should be doing, is following those people and helping that, or that will help us. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to practice the things that make us uncomfortable. That's always a hard one, right? So whether it's teaching a class, doing one-on-ones, or even just talking about essential oils in general, sometimes I still even feel myself stumbling around so well, because maybe they asked it like maybe a little bit different than I was like expecting, and so I kind of do that whole like ramp. Well, it's kind of, but like being prepared for all those scenarios, even if it's just like that, well, what do you do, right? Like those elevator pitch type moments, whatever it is that you don't feel comfortable with, start doing that. Start working on those. So as far as for an action item for that one, set up a time that we can do that with you, or if you want to do it with someone else or with Michelle or whoever, to actually work and practice some of those areas that you don't feel so comfortable with. Anything that you're feeling uncomfortable with will make you stronger and more confident after you've achieved it, and that building that confidence is necessary to be a great leader. So that's action item number 2. Action item number 3, or I guess not action item number 3. Number 3 is to tell yourself every day that you are a leader. It's easy to tell yourself everything that you're not. It becomes comforting to know those things that you're not, and because it means that when you felt those things, you already knew it, and so you don't feel like guilt, or you can just be like, I knew this was going to happen. So you're not surprised by it, right? If you want to become a better leader, you have to believe that you are a leader, and you have to start acting. So as far as action item number 3 is actually in the mirror every morning telling yourself you're a great leader, and telling yourself one thing that you're going to work on that day to be a better leader. you can do that, then you're going to be able to help yourself feel more like a prepared, awesome, inspired leader. So number 4 is to learn something new about your business every day. So even people who, so my old football coach, old school guy, but one of his classic sayings was, when you're green, you're growing, when you're ripe, you're rotten. We always need to be constantly growing and gaining more knowledge and being able to learn, right? So, and to keep ourselves in that realm of like trying to be the expert, right? We're the essential oil experts. That's, whether we like to or not, that's what we're conveying, right? So you're going to make mistakes, you're going to do those things, but if you're always every day trying to increase your knowledge, it's going to be easier for you. So for the action item for that one, actually want you to go to like doterra.com and spend, the other day I spent probably a half hour on, so there's an education tab underneath the advocate section of that tab, and like it's got Dr. Hill stuff, it's got science. It's actually a great spot to just go and learn more information about essential oil in general. So it's really a good spot. So sometime this week, spend 10 minutes working on learning something new about those essential oils.
I always like the empowerment series. Those are always good to watch too.
They are. I always sign up for them and then forget and then get the email afterwards and have to look at it, right?
It's about to start and it's over. There we go.
Exactly. Oh, man. All right. So let's see. Number 5 is to gather resources you use and that you would recommend to others. So if you're being seen as the authority figure by others, developing into that leadership role, then you better believe that you're the one who they'll be looking for as far as for resources. They'll be coming to you to ask questions and those kind of things, right? So you need to have kind of that toolbox of, oh, this is where I would go for this is where I go for that. And I think a lot of us already do have all those different areas, but maybe we haven't defined like 5 of those areas, like 5 places that we always go to and that we can just list off to someone who's having that issue, right? Sometimes, personally for me at least, somebody's like, oh, well, I go to this book or this book, but I just don't have 5 like ready, like, okay, you're going to get started in essential oils, here's 5 places you need to go. Hopefully, you can plug them into Breathe the Gift, get them started with the Essential Life book or Modern Essentials book, doterra.com, getting some of those things so that they have that and they're trusted sources that, well enough to be able to say like, yeah, this is something you should go check out. So for the action item, make a list, have a list of those 5 essential resources that you would give, that you use yourself personally, and that you would give to someone who's either starting out or coming to you for questions. All right, and so number 6 is to read more. So in addition to following the leaders that you look up to and learning some of the things about them, expertise in their industries, those kind of things, it's always important to read. Started like 7 books this year already, but I don't think I've finished any of them. But personal development is a huge part of what we need to do to personally be better for ourselves. That's the only way that I'm going to have answers for you. That's the only way you're going to have answers for your people. And I love that we do it because we're doing these essential oils, right? Like James Bybio says, it's a personal development company wrapped up in an oil business. And that's really truly what it is if we let it be. And it's not something that's just going to help our business, but it's going to help life. It's going to help, every aspect of our life, these personal development organizations and whatever it is, they're going to help us in those regards. So, so the action item for this one for reading more is to get a list of 5 books that you want to read this year and have a date of completion for each of those. So list them out, like which one you're going to start with, how long you think it's going to take you. Just have that list ready to go. Right? Make sense?
Yeah. It always,
And number 7. Sorry, what's that?
It always helps with that deadline. Have it, okay, gonna get it done at this time. Yes.
It totally is, because so many times like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna add this to the list. I'm gonna put that in my cart in Amazon, and then you eventually order the book, and then it sits there on the shelf for a while, and oh yeah, I might need to read that, and then you get to something else, right? But giving yourself those deadlines, that'll help out.
Yeah.
A lot. So number 7 is to build and grow relationships. So, I mean, network marketing, right? It's all about building relationships. That's the key to it. That's what we're supposed to be doing, right? And so, as we're building those relationships, we're helping those people, we're getting connected with them. There's kind of that synergistic feel, like you're empowering them, they're helping you, and everyone's kind of going from that. But it's also, if you look at leaders throughout history, throughout big business, whatever, 99% of them don't just sit there and say, well, I did it all on my own, right? Yeah, I'm the most amazing person. Well, some of the cocky ones maybe, right? But the true leaders, they don't just sit there and say, hey, I'm pretty awesome. Like, look at everything I just did. They talk about the support system and the motivation that they had from people, because you do get that support and the motivation. You get accountability when you have, and you're building and growing those relationships. And then it's that community and that kind of mastermind for feedback, because as you build that relationship, you can give them advice, they can give you advice, and they might say like, dude, that's pretty dumb, that you said that or whatever like that, and you can work through it, right? But if we don't build those relationships, then you're never going to hear that feedback. You're going to have that superficial, like, just smile and nod and, oh, okay, that's great, and then dude, Linda, that was so dumb that she did it, not to right? So that's what's important, and so it's that's the fun part about this business. I love building relationships and meeting new people, and especially since how many of us would have ever known each other hadn't it been for doTERRA? Here we have this network of all these people on our teams, and Canada, and we've got a lot of international stuff going on now that it's like, we always like to, like, people like, so how do you know that person? I'm like, well, one of our neighbors, their daughter or their mom's neighbor, and then their sister-in-law went for this, and you can just go through the list of different people, and you're like, 8 levels later, here you are, and that's where that connection came from, and now you know that person really well, and some of the people we've visited, and it's fun, it's exciting, and it's something to be celebrated, right? Mm-hmm. The people you meet and grow with and stuff. So an action item for that one is to write down a list of 10 people who you feel that will either help you build or grow your business. Either by building or growing upon your relationship, both of you will benefit. So 10 people that you think you can help them, they can help you, and you can mutually benefit each other. And then you're going to start trying to, whether you can meet up with those people, whether you can, even if there is someone who's far away, even, cars and stuff like that, just to say hey, and then work from there. And maybe you can FaceTime them, maybe you can Snapchat them, or what's
Marco Polo.
yeah.
Somebody told me I needed to be on there to get used to being on the camera. He was like, okay, I'll have to try that. I only did it a couple of times. I haven't done it that much. But hey, that's okay.
Melissa and her cousin, so Melissa and Lila talked to Melissa's cousin. No, that's not okay. I thought it was on Marco Polo. Oh, that was with Jolene. That's right. Was
Okay.
one of our old neighbors. Melissa, like, literally, they have these like 10, 15-minute conversations, like, it's one person talking, right?
Very
on
good.
Marco Polo all the time. So it's fun, and that's the beautiful thing is we live in a day and age now where we can have live face-to-face conversations with people without, be several thousand miles away. So
It's true. So cool.
So those are the 7 things. I just want to make sure. So we're gonna make a list of 2, 3, or 4 people that we look up to who are leaders, either in church, business, doTERRA, whatever it is, and kind of look at the aspects of their life that we or of their leadership that we want to emulate. We are gonna, number 2 was to practice the things that make us uncomfortable. So with mentor or with a friend or whatever, and do those tasks that you're uncomfortable with and get comfortable with it. And a lot of times when we do that, we actually becomes a strength to us. And then number 3 was to tell yourself you're a leader every day in the mirror before you, when you wake up in the morning, get in the mirror and talk about how great a leader you are, and one thing that you're going to do that day to one of those characteristics that you're going to work on there. And then 4 was learn something new every day. I mentioned as far as an action item, going to like doTERRA.com and go under the education tab in the advocate section there. Number 5 was to gather those 5 resources that you use to be able to have that list together for when someone needs that help, right? Number 6 was to create a list of 5 books in order that you want to start working on them, and the dates for completion that you want to have those books done by. And number 7 was to build and grow those relationships. And so you're going to make a list of 10 people that you think that in that building that relationship that you would be able to help each other out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I am going to do this. I think I'm going to do this on Reshare Build tomorrow, and kind of put it out as like a challenge to everybody. So more than just you trying to complete this task.
That sounds good.
But I think when we do these calls too, and we're talking about some of these things, we do need to do more action items and kind of report back to each other, because and I'm going to do these too. So I'm not just going to say, Linda, did you do them? Right? But that's how we're going to actually help. That's one of those things that should be something helping each other out to grow ourselves, right? Stop the recording.